to come back to the discussion about how far do objects falling under the influence of gravity fall with every subsequent second that they are falling. We started off the discussion with an object that is falling from a high place only under the influence of gravity, with the gravitational acceleration being equal to approximately 10 meters per second square. And if the time, velocity and the distance of the objects are tracked as the object continues to fall, then we see that at time t1, 1 second, the velocity gained would be 10 meters per second. T2, the velocity gained would be 20 meters per second. T3, 30, and so on. The critical question that we are asking now is, if d0 is 0 meters, that means just before it started falling, the distance covered was 0. What is going to be d1, d2, d3 and d4? So the other day, just to recall what we had come up with, people said, well, could it be as simple as d1 is equal to 10 meters? And the reason they said was because it's moving at a velocity of 10 meters per second, so it must be covering 10 meters in 1 second. But then it was immediately pointed out that that's not going to be true, because if the velocity has become 10 meters per second at that point, at that instant where the time became 1 second.
Class के बीच में मत disturb कर.
Sorry?
Sorry, sir.
So the velocity before that would be less than 10 meters per second. And if the object was moving at a speed lesser than 10 meters per second in the time interval between t0 and t1, then it could not have done 10 meters. So we corrected this estimate and we said, well, it can't be 10 meters. It definitely has to be less than 10 meter. And it has got to be somewhere between d1 has to be greater than 0 and it has to be less than 10 meters. So that is the answer we came up with. Now the thing is, can we arrive at a more accurate information about this? So if anybody has any doubt about how we arrived up to this point, you can ask now. Otherwise, let us move forward. Yeah. So any answers? Go ahead, Ishan.
Yeah. So I would think of this problem as a simpler problem first. So I'll just simplify this.
Sure.
Wait, can you switch off your mic?
Okay.
Yeah. So the speed is the actual velocity is changing every instant, right? So I would simplify this and make it so for suppose for the first 1 second, 0.1 second, the velocity is at the end of it would be 1, and after 0.2 seconds it would be 2, right? And after 0.3 it will be 3. So that way, and as the time interval is the same, so we can simply find the average. So it's like you find the average between 0.0 seconds and 0.1 seconds, which would be, yeah, so in the at rest it's 0, and after 0.1 second it's 1 meters. So it should be the average of that, which would be 0.5 meters. So similarly, you do all that, or you can directly find the average between t is equal to 0 and t is equal to 1, and the answer would be 5 meters.
I didn't understand anything.
So I got the general approach. You're saying one way to do this would be to figure out average distance covered. So sorry, the average speed. So you're saying that since the velocity goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5 meters per second, as the time progresses, you know that this progression is sort of uniform. So therefore, you know it went from 0 to 10 meters per second in 1 second. So therefore, the distance that it covers would be the average distance covered or the average velocity. You want to find out average speed. So 0 plus
speed would be
10 divided by 2, that will be 5 meters per second. So this is the average speed. So if it goes at an average speed of 5 meters per second for 1 second, then it will cover 5 meters. So the answer will be 5 times 1 is equal to 5 meters. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
So 5 meters per second for 1 second, then it will be 5 meters. I guess it's a sort of what we call as an empirical solution. So it's a solution that is logical. I mean, it's practical. You say that, yeah, since we know that the acceleration is, it's not like somebody running or somebody going in a car or something. It's an object which is falling under the influence of gravity. We know that the gravitational acceleration is a constant. Okay, so there is no fooling around with that. It's not like, going faster, then going slower, then going faster. Nothing like that is happening. So we can say that from 0 to 0.1, it will do 1 meter per second. 0.1 to 0.2, it will be 2 meters per second. 0.2 to 0.3, it will be 3 meters per second, and so on. Not it will be, it will gain 3 meters per second. So therefore, talking about average speed is a good way to do it. So the average speed of the object as it fell from here to here is going to be 5 meters per second. The time is 1 second. So if it falls at an average speed of 5 meters per second for 1 second, then of course it will cover 5 meters. So that's the crux of your argument. Is there anybody else who has a doubt about this? Somebody, as soon as Ishan finished, somebody said, I didn't get it. So did you get it? Yes. Pratham, if you can tell your solution, how do you think you can find out the answer to this for sure?
From the formula, right?
So you are talking about this. What is the formula?
D equals half gt square.
Yeah. So if you use this equation, actually this is part of an equation of motion, sort of formulated by Newton. Not sort of, it is formulated by Newton. Here, explain what these different things are. Where did you see the formula, and how do you get the answer from that? Go ahead.
So d is distance traveled, and half is half, and then gravity is 10 meters per second squared, and time is, in this case, it's 1 second. So yeah, and it's given on page number 74 of our textbook. So like distance is equal to half into 10 meters per second squared into 1 into 1. It's basically 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Into 1. It's basically 10 divided by 2.
Got it. So the only problem with this is it's an sort of God-given equation. So you just use the equation that is given out there. In this case, it is almost by God, by Newton. So I guess on the face of it, we can trust it and we can take it, but we will have to figure out whether this equation is valid for all situations or not. We haven't come across it so far. You have looked it up from somewhere, and that's perfectly fine. So if you look at this again, the only difference. So Ishan just mentioned as you were talking about this, that this is a variation of the same average velocity concept. But there is a critical difference, that there is a t square over here, whereas in that formula we multiplied the average velocity by t, not by t square. Okay, so this equation, I would say, has a better, okay, I won't go into that. It has better mathematical pedigree. Okay, let me just leave it at that. What you can try out, both of you, is that see if it works for subsequent intervals of time. So can it also give the distance that an object fell from t1 to t2, t2 to t3, and t3 to t4? But
no.
On the face of it, both methods agree, at least for the first time interval. Okay, so let us, sorry, did Shiv say something?
Yeah, so like how did we come to this equation?
Yeah, so
It's
like I
derived
said,
on page number
at the face
74.
of it, we just we are relying on authority. So if you say it's on page number 74, that means we are relying on the authority of the textbook,
Oh,
which is
okay.
not acceptable in science, but it's okay. He was interested in finding a solution for it. He's trusting this equation. We will verify this equation later, if not in this year, in the next year, and see whether it is correct or not. Like I said, this equation has mathematical pedigree. That means that its roots are in mathematics, and I'm not saying average velocity doesn't have roots in mathematics, but more encapsulating. It's more all covering, but we will come to that a little bit later. Now, I'd like to throw in another solution. One thing that you can see is that in both cases, the answers agree, which may be coincidental, but they agree for the time being. Now, let's look at a third method of solving the same problem. I think by the end of that, the time that is given to us will be over. But what I'm saying to Ishan and to Pratham is, please verify if the solution that you have given, both forms, average velocity and by using the equation, agrees for subsequent time intervals also. Okay, see if you get the correct
Okay, I've
answer
done
by
some research on that.
yeah.
So basically, when you're deriving this equation, you just have to go one step piche. So over here,
No, let's not go into the equation
is
right
also the
now.
average. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. I'd like to offer a solution of my own, which is using a graphical method. Okay.
Okay.
And for this, I have to tell you something a little bit before this. So we can make, when we look at objects that are moving, let us say that there is an object that is moving with a uniform velocity of 5 meters per second. Okay, don't confuse it with this situation. This is an entirely different situation. Let us say that there is an object and it's moving and it has a velocity of 5 meters per second. This is the situation. So now I say that as it's going from here to here, that is t is equal to 0 seconds to t is equal to, let's say, 5 seconds. Let's not keep both as 5 seconds, 15 seconds, right? What is the distance that it covers from here to here? Now the answer is very easy, right? Because this is just, if it's going at a uniform speed of 5 meters per second and it goes for 15 seconds, the answer is simple. It's 15 times 5. That is what, 25, 75 meters. So the answer is 75 meters. But I can get this answer in a different way, in a slightly different way. And I like to show you that. So how I can get the answer to this is, I can make a graph. I'm going to sketch it only this time. So this is not going to be accurate, but I'm sketching a graph in which I'm showing time in the x-axis in seconds and speed or velocity in meters per second in the y-axis. Okay, so y-axis, x-axis. Stop me anytime you're not able to follow what I'm saying. Okay, now let us make the intervals 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is 5 meters per second. This is 1 meter per second, right? And let us say the time interval is, I've got 15. So let me make sure I divide this properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I need a little bit more. 13, 14, 15. Okay, so 1 and 15, and it will go on, but as of now this is all I need. So if I have to represent the motion of my object on this scale,
You have to write X
then
there.
X here, sorry. Then 5 meters per second, same 5 meters per second for 15 seconds, right? So
What? Same 5 meters for 15 seconds.
15 seconds. Yeah, isn't that what is happening?
Yeah.
Correct?
Oh yeah.
The velocity
okay.
is uniform 5 meters per second for the whole 15 seconds. Okay. Now there's something interesting that happens. What is the distance that it has covered? The distance it has covered is 5 meters per second multiplied by 15 seconds, right?
Mhm.
So here is 5
75.
meters per second. Here is 15 seconds. So if I multiply these two, what am I going to get?
75.
Yeah. And what is that 75? I'm shading it
Yeah,
right
the
now.
area of the shaded area.
Yeah.
The area under the graph, that's what we call it in physics. We call it the area under the graph. So this part is what is known as actually we should say area under the curve, but since it's a straight line I don't want to confuse you. So this is an interesting property that we can use to answer our question, okay, because this is not connected to this one. This I just wanted to give you the background to. Do you agree that the area covered under the graph, which in this case is 75 square units, whatever that happens to be, but in this case it is 75 meters, the area. Don't confuse it.
Yeah.
It's coming out as meters, but the area is 75 units, and that gives you the answer. Why? Because speed multiplied by time gives you distance. Okay. So what we can do now is we can use the same property and test it out whether in this situation also it applies in exactly the same way. How do we do that? Well, let me show you. So yeah, like you asked, what if the velocity is changing? Okay, in this case, the velocity was not changing, the first case. It was moving uniform 5 meters per second. What if it is changing? Okay, so let us try to map this situation. Okay, so again, time in seconds and speed or velocity in meters per second. I don't know why I keep writing speed. I should strictly speaking be writing velocity. It's okay. Sometimes you get caught in such things. So I have time intervals up to 4, right? So I don't need much more than that. So I can keep it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 1 second.
This time it will
2
have a
seconds,
slope
3
of like
seconds.
1, right?
What? I couldn't hear that.
This time it will have a like a slope
Yes,
of
correct.
1.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis,
So it's like a triangle.
and I can keep my velocities also in terms of tens. So I can keep it as 10 meters per second, then 20 meters per second, then 30 meters per second, and then 40 meters per second. Okay, I hope all that is clear. So then at time t is equal to 0, velocity is also 0 meters per second. So my information starts from here. Okay, that point, right? And then at time t is equal to 1 second, the velocity becomes 10 meters per second. So that comes out over there. Okay, now since the increase in velocity is uniform because it's acceleration due to gravity, what I can do is I can connect these two with a straight line.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, so it's like a triangle
Okay.
this time.
Yeah, so just
They're
hold on,
in
hold your
ratio.
horses. Yeah, in this case they are in ratio because I selected my scale in that way. So don't pay attention to that. Now what I can do is, do you want me to expand this and show it, or is it clearly visible to you, this triangle?
Oh, it's clear, it's clear.
Yeah.
It's clear?
It's clear.
Okay, so if I use the same principle from the last one and I say that if the distance covered by an object in a speed time graph is the area under the graph, then shouldn't this area under the graph also represent the distance covered?
It should.
Yeah.
Okay, it
I
should,
didn't
right? Because
understand
there is no
anything, sir,
reason.
of what you just said.
Why didn't you understand? Because you couldn't hear me, or because you don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, so if you agree that it is so, let us just test it out too. Okay, so if the area under this graph is indeed the distance covered, then what is it coming out to? This is a triangle. Okay, so if it's a triangle, then the area of a triangle is half base
Base,
times height,
height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that will be half times base is 1 second,
Yeah.
right? And height is
10.
10 meters per second. And what do you get?
5
5 meters per
meters.
second. 5 meters.
5 meters.
5 meters. So the way that average velocity argument also gave an answer of 5 meters, the God given equation half gt square also gave 5 meters, and the graphical proof or the graphical method is also giving 5 meters. So therefore it must be this or nearly this. Individually we may not understand how they come to that, but it seems that it is so. So therefore we can say tentatively now that the distance that an object covers in the first 1 second in free fall is 5 meters. 5 meters. Now let us extend this and see. Like I asked
Plus 12
Ishan and Pratham to
Sir,
extend it for subsequent intervals of time also and prove that it is so. I'm going to do that for
Yeah, this
today's
thing works.
class, and
Yeah.
they can come back to. Okay, so if I extend this for all intervals of time, so you can see that this line will actually go continuously straight through. It's not going in this case. And I have to do a little bit of jugglery, but I can do that.
sir, this will work, right?
Should no? It seems like it will work. Of course, it will work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the half gt square and this will be the same.
Half gt square and this will be the same, with one small exception. I'll show it to you next time. When you people give your proof, I'll also give my proof. So now the second time interval, going very quickly because we don't have a lot of time, or we do? Yeah, we do. 4 minutes is there. Siddharth Laskar is in the waiting room. Wow.
What? Siddharth Laskar?
No.
Okay, fine. Don't worry about it. So therefore, from the time interval t1 to t2, can you please keep quiet? From t1 to t2, the distance covered will now be not the area of the entire triangle, but this area. I hope you can make out the difference because the hatching is done differently. The blue one. That will give me the distance covered in the interval between first second and second second.
First to second, right?
1 to 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is the area of that? Well, the area of that is, I can divide it into two parts. I can make it into the area of a triangle, this triangle, and then this rectangle. In this case, it will be a square. Okay. The area of this triangle is simple. It's the same as this. Correct?
Yeah.
So this one is going to be 5 meters, and this one is going to be base into height. Okay, base is 2
Height is
and
10.
height is 10, so that is 20 meters. Okay, so
Yeah.
the whole
So
thing
it
will
becomes
be
25.
20 plus 5, 25. Is that right? Does that come
Wait,
out right? I
what?
hope I'm right.
No, it should be 20, right?
It should be 20.
The blue area should be 15 and the total triangle should be 20.
if we take out the area of the big triangle, then we can subtract 5 meters from that.
Correct. Yeah, you can also do it that way. Maybe I took the more complicated route. Perhaps she's right. So let's take the area of the whole triangle and subtract this one. This we know is already 5 units, right? So the whole thing will be, now we can use the same one.
20.
Height is
Base is
20.
2, height is 20. So that will be 20 meters
20.
minus 5 meters.
5.
So that will be 15 meters.
15.
So this answer to this part is 15 meters. And in the similar way, you can keep calculating what will be the distance covered in subsequent time intervals.
Sure.
Okay. So just a moment.